Well, welcome to my organized chaos. The milkers all tore apart. That one's finally back together. But what I'm doing is putting all new hoses and rubber parts onto the milkers. By the end of February, we're due, it's what they call a bulk tank rating. And it's kind of hard to, it's not that hard to explain, but I always thought that it was each truckload of milk is what they were rating, but it's actually a bigger area and it's several truckloads of milk. But every 2 years, a state inspector comes through here to inspect everything. And we're due for this rating by the end of February. So they could start it next week. Pretty much it's not going to be at least till the middle of January before I'd really have to worry about getting ready for it. But it's due, the rating's due by the end of February. So anytime between now and February they could call and say they're going to be holding it. So I got to clean stuff up and get everything into shape. But what I'm doing here right now is it's time to change these hoses. Now you can see this is one I haven't done yet, and you can see the hoses are fairly yellow, and this ain't really a good comparison because this is a different brand hose than the ones I'm using this year. This hose is actually from De La Velle, and it's actually got a blue tint to it when it's new, where these are pretty much clear. I mean, there is probably going to show up here on camera, but it's got like a little bit of a yellowish hue, but it's what they call opaque, I guess. Or not opaque, would be more white. It's translucent anyhow. But where'd that piece go? I can show you here. This is what happens, over time. You can see there's like a white haze in there. That's mineral deposits and stuff. The hoses, over time they crack and then stuff builds up and then cracks, and even like the acids and stuff won't clean it out like it's supposed to. So periodically they got to be changed. And it's just time. I'd rather do this just before they come so everything looks good. But usually they come in March, and that'd be the time next time I would be doing maintenance work to the milkers, major work. But they've changed the dates this year, so the reason I'm changing them here now is this is actually the time that I would be changing the inflations. So I figured it's just as easy to do everything all at one time now and have it done with. So, like I said, I'm putting new milk hose, new vacuum hose, new inflations, new short air tubes. There's a gasket underneath this cover, rubber gasket, that's being replaced. This valve here, there's 2 O-rings, I'm replacing them. This retainer ring, I ain't gonna worry about that, that ain't that big of a deal. This is just a big O-ring that's getting cracked and stuff, I'm replacing them. I mean, all that is to keep the hoses in a cluster instead of just sprawling out all the time. So basically I got a little bit of an assembly line going here. I bring one milker in, I tear it all apart, and right now this is an acid in here, and I'm letting this soak, and this will, like you can see here, that's milkstone, mineral deposits, and it just doesn't come off. You got to soak that in acid. So I'm letting that end soak a little bit, then I'll brush it off, I'll flip it over, let this end soak. And after that's all done, this is just water with some soap in it, just regular manual soaps that I wash it down again with. And like I say, here's the claw all in pieces. That's snap ring that holds them side glasses, and well, they're actually Lexan, not glass, but that holds them into place. The milker shells, like the washing the inflations off and stuff. So then the next thing I'll do is Like I said, I'll empty that and I'll put it all together here, get the claw back together. Then I'll throw these hoses in the water, wash them out a little bit. They should be clean, but still got to wash them. Then I got them hanging here, drying, dripping out a little bit, while I'll brush these off and throw them into here. And then while these are soaking and stuff, I'll get this one tore down and let it soak. Now here's all the parts that I'm putting into it. Here's the short air tubes, inflations. These are the gaskets and the O-rings for the claw. This is the vacuum tube. And like I said, this time, like I said, I just bought stuff from a different company and they had the clear. I kind of like the clear. Last time I went with the black. Doesn't make much difference one way. I do one thing like this. One thing nice about the clear, if you get a hole in an inflation or one of these short air tubes get a crack, especially when it's washing, it'll draw water in and you'll see water pulsing through this. So you got a hole somewhere and you can see if something's getting built up in them hoses. And here's the milk hose. It's just 5/8 food grade. It's Tygon, I guess is the brand. Like I say, I just got different stuff this year. Normally I buy, like I said, kind of priced around this year and it wasn't much of a difference. So like I said, I just bought some stuff I needed to get from a company I got offline. So I just ordered everything from them. And then here's the milker. One of the milkers all assembled. But the inflation's back on. Claw all back together. And so I got these metal clips just to keep the hoses held together, so they don't get tangled up. And then it hooks up here into the wash manifold. And like I said, that's when I get all done, like I said, I still haven't washed the pipeline here yet this morning because like I said, I'm doing all this. So all this will go through a wash cycle with the CIP soap, which stands for clean in place, and it's an alkaline based soap. And then it'll run an acid rinse through all that. And so like I say, I'll pretty much have these ready. I mean, I still got you can see I get dirt on the ceiling here, clean this all out, got to clean the parlor all down. I mean, it's a lot of stuff. Like I say, the milk inspector from the milk company, we get inspected every 6 months. But this is actually, I don't want to say it's the health department, or maybe it's the Department of Ag. I'm not exactly sure. It's a state that comes through, and like I said, it's to rank this area of milk. And it's supposed to be random, but with the number of farmers there are nowadays, pretty much everybody's getting hit nowadays. But you have to score at least, or the route has to score at least a 90. So to be able to go into a grade A market. And if the rating fails, then there will be a reinspection and a cleanup. And I think they did change stuff because the last time I scored a 94. And that's what I hate. They don't tell you what you score. They don't leave you a paper or anything what they wrote down or marked off or anything. I mean, just if they go out there and grab the cap on the water well and that lifts off or is loose, I think that's a 10-point violation right there. So then if you get marked for anything else, you failed the rating. So, I mean, but like I said, water well is one of the major ones, and milk house cleanliness. Yeah. They want me to clean out my junk in here, stuff piles up. My wife has got to get boxes for the cats to sleep in, all this stuff is getting neatened up. But that doesn't hold as much. That room being dirty might only be a 2-point deduction, where this room being dirty, they might take 5 points. So, but yeah, last time I found out, I had to ask the milk inspector 3 times before I finally found out what I scored. And he said I scored a 94, so the area had to score, the rating ended up being a 91, so we passed. But what pisses me off is, in order for that to get down to 91, if I had a 94, somebody had to score an 87 or 88 to bring it down. So somebody is benefiting off me doing extra work to pass it. Well, the letter they sent this time, the way I read it, that if you don't score at least a 90, I forget what the penalty was going to be. You might get shut off until you clean up or whatever. You know, they've changed it here around here now, so it might be a little bit more fair. But of course, a lot of the guys that don't clean up are the ones that are kind of going out right now too. They just don't give a shit anymore. I'm getting to that point too, but I'm still know how things got to be done, and I try to do the best I can until they do force me out, basically. So, but yeah, this is my organized chaos. Like I said, I still got 4 milkers put together. Like I said, this is the hardest part. This hose being new, I mean, you got to soak this in hot water to get it to go on here. And of course, you can't pull nothing off. I got to cut every hose off just about. So it's not the easiest thing. And of course, when you get stuff like this here, you start getting these cold weather cracks, and you bump out on every little point that there is out there. This is not a fun job. So, and I don't know how these guys got the big parallel parlors, you know, got 30 milkers, how the hell they stand to do all this. But yeah, like I say, inflations, they get changed regularly because they're supposed to be changed, and it depends on the company. Most of them now are 1,200 milkings or 90 washes. So they should be changed every 3 months minimum, regardless of how many cows you milk. And the way they determine, like if you're milking 50 cows with 5 milkers twice a day, you're actually milking, like I said, that's considered 100 cows with 5 milkers. Each milker is milking 20 cows. So 1,200, these inflations should be changed every 60 days. So I say if you're not, or like I say 90 washes, because you wash it twice a day, and like I said, it's the chlorine in the soap and the sanitizers that deteriorates the rubber, gets micro cracks in it, and that's when you start getting high bacteria counts because stuff gets in them cracks and you just can't clean them like they need to. It's like these hoses here. That's all milk stone, you know, stuff gets in there, dries, and it just, unless you soak it in acid, you don't get it off. I mean, you can hose this as many times as you want and brush it, but like I say, that stuff just sits in there. And then, like I say, usually these short air tubes basically get changed at least once a year because it gets a crack right there a lot of times in some of these. You know, they start cracking, and so that stuff. And like I said, hoses, usually about every other year I change the hoses. They usually ain't too bad. You say it's not a rubber, so it's a little more impervious to the chlorine, so it doesn't seem to bother it as much. But this ain't cheap either. I'm over $400 in parts here. I mean, just the milker inflations alone, they're $20 a set. 6 sets is $120. This twin vacuum hose is $235 a foot, and I got I get 55 feet of it. So that's over $100, $120. Like I say, some of that I'll be replacing a lot of these hoses here too, because they're getting moisture in the vacuum lines collects in there, and you get a fungus or a discoloration in there. I don't want to say fungus, but maybe an algae would grow in there. So I got to change them. Short air tubes ain't bad. I think they're around 90 cents a piece, and them gaskets and stuff, I think them O-rings are like 90 cents, and these other gaskets maybe $2, if that. But between this and there's some other parts I bought that it was over $300 in one place I got parts from, and I had $150, $200 worth of parts from somewhere else. And I still got to get more. I cleaned that vacuum controller up there the other day, and I found there's a diaphragm in there. Looks like it's got some pinholes. So I gotta get them parts, and oh, there's something else. Well, I found out here the other day, like on the bulk tank washer here, you're supposed to have these check valves. So when your water pressure fluctuates, it can actually draw the acid back into the lines here. So that's what they require, these check valves, so they can't backfeed. Well, this here, you can see it's kind of hazy, even though this is Lexan too, it's brown. But that should actually be clear water in there. Should look more like this. You can see this is fairly clear, where that's cloudy. Well, come to find out, I think this check valve is getting bad, because the milk inspector is here and we're talking about it, and we pulled this off and he did a pH test, and that came back like a pH of 2, which is a strong acid. So it's actually pulling back into here, so I gotta replace these things. They ain't bad. I think they're like 12 or 15 bucks. But so yeah, that's how I'm spending my snowy Saturday afternoon here. We're under a winter weather advisory. One says 4 to 8, and I know it's been light snow like this all day. It's accumulating, but but I better get back to this job, because I haven't fed cows here yet, and they want fed probably. So, but yeah, that's my organized mess here right now. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch up with you later.